Hi, I'm Lisa,
And I'm Ray.
and you're listening to
This Midlife Hustle.
In today's episode, we're going to be giving you some updates on both of our journeys.
Yeah, I guess this is completely unscripted again,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Maybe it's fortunate. Maybe it changes things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, so first of all, let's acknowledge that we skipped a week.
Yeah. I came back sick from the trip, like really sick.
You went to surprise your sister in upstate New York.
Yeah.
And that was a nice trip.
That was a really nice trip. Very good surprise. But I came back sick. Like day 2 of me there, I got sick.
And I think you gave it to me. I don't know, whatever it was, we both were like, we take this podcast seriously because we made a commitment to at least do it for a full year.
Yeah.
And in some cases, when we knew we had stuff coming up, we even pre-recorded an episode to make sure we didn't miss a week.
Yep.
And we just couldn't help it last week. We just both felt horrible.
Yeah.
Like
we
headaches.
had no energy.
Yeah.
No energy. And I still kind of am still a little clogged up, but man, it's taken a long time for this to go away.
Yep. So what we figured we'd do this week is kind of give a catch up on some of the things we've been doing. I have my candle journey, that candle business journey that I'm going through. You are full force going forward with the new salon location.
Yep.
So we'll just give a little bit of updates on both of those and share our thoughts about what's next.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe next week we'll be a little more organized. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not sure because we're both
we're in the midst of chaos right now, both of us.
You more than me. I mean, I have setup to do and stuff like that, and literally try to get clients in my chair. But I feel like you're a little bit more all over the place
because I'm trying to help you and help me.
Yeah,
I can't neglect what you need from your business, or else you won't be successful. Because I'm a big part of helping you with advertising and get the website set up, and Google digital marketing and local marketing and all this stuff. Try to get people in your chair.
Yep.
And also, I don't want to lose momentum on what I have going on with the candle business, and that journey. So, yeah, it is a little chaos for me. And plus, I have a full-time job.
Yep.
And I can't let that go by the wayside either.
Nope.
Because that's what pays the bills ultimately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a lot going on.
Yeah.
Let me give a little update on where I am with the candle business. I've been really going crazy. I feel the ADD side of me really feeling challenged because there are so many topics for me to get up to speed on. And when I get stuck on one area, sometimes what I like to do is, look at something else, move on to another area. Like if I'm waiting for some, parts to come in, or I'm waiting to get set up in the garage or something like that. And I feel like, well, at least I want to do something productive. Then I'll start looking at something else. So let me give you an example. Part of what I'm doing is going to involve some 3D printing and some casting and molding. Mm-hmm. Part of what I'm going to do is starting to use my laser printer that I bought a while ago, and I want to make it earn its money, earn its keep. Part of what I'm doing is the actual candle making business. So I'm doing custom containers, custom candles, custom forms for candles, custom molds for candles, custom containers. Like I'm trying to do justice to that vision I had where it's going to be a complete artistic endeavor.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to just be a candle business and just have an interesting label on a standard container. Right. I want to customize the containers. If I'm going to do a pillar candle, it's going to be a custom pillar candle. So that's a tall order though, because I have to make sure I'm a master of all these different skills, not just the artistic side of things.
Yeah.
And then on the business side of that, I have to make sure I know, how am I going to sell these things? Am I going to use Shopify, Etsy, Amazon? And it seems these days, man, you can find a pro or a con for every one of these markets. If you go and hit YouTube and some people are kind of complaining about where Etsy's going, which I totally get. They're allowing a lot of Chinese manufacturers into the marketplace. They're doing a lot of print on demand services. It's like flooding what used to be a nice place for arts and craftsy kind of sales. And they're flooding it with this crap. And it's doing two things. It's causing consumers that are visiting Etsy it's changing the audience of Etsy basically. A lot of people are going there as an alternative to cheap shopping because they know it's individuals and maybe they can keep their margins down and buy something cheaper. So instead of attracting new audience that is interested in paying a little more for something handcrafted and unique and custom, it's shifting into like, oh, well, it's just another marketplace where I can go to find something cheap. And that's never what Etsy was. And so that's hurting the shop owners as well, because now there's this kind of race to the bottom
Right.
effect going on as well. If there's like 100 people offering the same thing that you're offering and there's nothing unique, well, that's in part a problem of the seller if you're not offering
Right.
anything unique, but also just the audience. So the minute you don't have the same audience, then, why am I as a seller even there?
Right.
Because you're not bringing me the audience I thought.
Right.
If I just want an audience of people looking for something cheap, I'll go to Amazon.
Right.
They have a much bigger audience than you.
Right.
Right.
It used to be a unique place to get customizable, homemade feeling kind of product, and now
I want to say that I hope Etsy is doing something about it, but honestly, I'm not sure they are really. I think I've heard recently, like even like Alibaba and Chinese suppliers are now coming to Etsy as well, and that's just gonna make the problem even worse. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Then Shopify is an interesting solution, but like it costs money per month, and until I have an audience, until I have a name and an audience for the products, it's like Shopify is not going to do much for me,
right?
Because I have to have an audience, right? I already have a website up that's just for like general marketing purposes. But if I wanted to be able to have my own shop online, sure, Shopify is a great solution for that. But unless you have an audience you can bring to Shopify, you're just going to have a website up with stuff to sell and nobody buying stuff, right? That's Etsy and Amazon give me an audience, a place that people are looking for products that I'm selling.
Right.
Amazon has a hell of a lot of fees. So FBA is super convenient, and even even the fulfilled by merchant is a really appealing approach. But man, those fees are high.
Yeah.
And so I start looking at like, well, maybe I just go do Amazon fulfilled by merchant, but the fees are high. But what are they giving me for it? They're giving me a built-in audience, millions, whatever it is. It's probably billions of users, whatever.
Right.
So then there's some other newcomers to the space as well. But really at this point, I'm just looking at the business aspect of what I want to roll out with. And I think I am going to still go with Etsy and Amazon to start, like I said originally. Yeah. Different purposes, different audiences. And maybe I'll sell the more unique custom items on a Shopify website eventually. Right. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
But I'm in the midst of that. So here, you see my ADD brain? So now I've got like 3D printing, casting, molding, candle making, laser engraving and etching and cutting.
Yep.
And the business side of my brain going crazy with, setting up. I set up a DBA and doing the marketing and the website and in social media and figuring out what to do as far as where I'm going to focus my energies for selling. And man, and then we add on top of that, you're starting a new salon and I needed to help you.
Yeah.
My brain is bouncing all over the place lately.
Yeah. Hopefully after this week, I think I'll be all set on my own.
Probably for the most part. I mean, I help you with business stuff and taxes eventually.
Oh yeah, that stuff. Yeah.
Unless you want to take over taxes, that would be awesome.
No. Nope.
Please?
Mm-mm.
Pretty please?
Nope. No. Nope. That stresses me out. I stay away from you.
Yeah.
I am not around you when you
oh God,
do taxes.
I hate it. I really should get better about doing it all through the year, so I don't have to do a mega session at the end of the year. But yeah, and in advertising, I need you to record an audio spot because that was effective advertising in the Savannah Park market. So I think it'll be effective here. So I have a lot going on, and I guess the thing I wanted to just give our audience an update about. It's one thing to talk about doing a side hustle.
Yeah.
But when you're really in the grind of it, like it does take a lot of grit to power through it, especially in the beginning.
Oh my God. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
It really does.
Because it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Saying blood, sweat, and tears doesn't really do it justice.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're burning the candle at both ends like that, it really is difficult. I mean, it's hard to get a business off the ground when you're not even certain, and to be able to follow through on that when you're not certain where the journey is even going to end. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can do so much to plan. You can do so much to make sure that you're pursuing something that you think is going to be profitable. And then the devil's in the details of execution.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah.
I see it. I'm seeing it in you. And you've been asking me for advice and I've been giving it when you ask. But yeah, I see you all over the place.
I was asking you some advice just recently because how do I say this? I'm trying to make sure that I have checks and balances in place, that I'm not going off the deep end, so to speak, because I do sometimes struggle with like a feeling of ADD, like feeling like I'm all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that you'll help me identify that and pull me in if you do see that happening. But I have also the side of me that's this artistic brain.
Right.
And a lot of the reasons I'm doing this are for artistic expression
Right.
and that type of thing outside of what I do for work. So I feel like if I don't pursue it that way, I'm not being genuine to what I wanted to do and what I wanted to start. I don't want to just be another candle company having a
Right.
clever name and clever marketing. I do want a clever names and clever marketing because
Right.
that's what sells candles ultimately. But I also want a product that's unique that other people aren't doing.
Right.
That's truly collectible piece of art at the end of the day. You know, whether it's just the container or the candle itself or something like that. You know, I want it to be special, and it's not going to be special if I don't do these other things.
Right.
So I think that I will get more and more proficient at it. But I was kind of asking you, one of the things that's been on my mind lately is, am I going too crazy? Am I going overboard with the artistic side of things?
You're almost there to the point where I'm going to be like, all right, do you have everything to at least do one candle?
Yeah, and I've been sensitive to the fact that like the spending of money needs to stop. Like I did have a certain amount of money that I was willing to put into this, like you and I talked about. So not me, but we talked about.
Yeah.
We were willing to put a certain amount of money into this. And so I started scaling up so that I can take advantage of the benefit of buying in larger quantities and such.
Yeah.
But I'm getting sensitive to the point where like I have a laser printer that I bought last year that I wanted to do something with. It needs to pay for itself.
Yeah.
I bought a whole bunch of candle making supplies. They need to pay for themselves. Like I need to get to the point where I'm selling something.
Yeah.
If nothing else, to test the market and see how things are going.
Yep.
But I need a premier collection that I'm ready to roll with soon because I'm getting sensitive for myself to the point that like I don't want to keep spending.
Yeah.
You know,
I
frivolously.
know.
You know?
I get
And when I see the money coming in and things are paying for themselves, I'll feel less guilty about some of those things as well. But also, I mean, when we talk about this niche, I think my niche is going to be in the artist side of things, artistic side of the candle. So I may be going from like sculpted pieces, 3D pieces to, you know, special laser engraved pieces and stuff like that where I'm doing the art myself.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. You know, the niche is still there. It's an artistic luxury candle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think that'll work out. I think the vision will come through. And as long as, you know, I keep in mind that keep my eyes on the prize, so to speak, like the ultimate goal is to profit and keep that in mind as I'm doing some of these other activities, you know, I think it'll be fine. And once I get proficient in some of these things, there'll be an economy of scale. I'll know how to do it in scale. And so it'll become the case where I have an idea for a candle. I have an idea for an piece of art, and the mechanics of how to do it will be second nature.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of the doing it.
Yep.
You know, so,
yeah.
So right now I'm just paying the price of all that learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then that brings us to you. Let's give an update on what's going on with you.
I'm in the space. I started moving things yesterday. Went in there and cleaned. So it looks a little better than what she left it. So yeah, I'm getting excited, but also nervous. And this is why. I'm spending the money. Usually with the business, I say, Ray, I need X, Y, and Z. You don't even tell me a total. It just magically gets delivered to me. Well, I've been going and getting what I need and I'm spending, and I'm like calling you in a panic, like, or texting like, is this okay? Is that okay? Because I'm used to you being that business
establishing
partner.
the budget and everything. Yeah.
And so I have to rewire my brain that this is all me this time. Not so much your involvement.
It's good that you're thinking that though, because I think a lot of times when I would do it for you, it was too magical.
Yeah, no, for 100%. Like I thought we had, I mean, like in my brain, I thought we had millions, you know,
right.
when this stuff,
we don't.
when this stuff just, I'm like, hey, this would make me feel, be more efficient. And all of a sudden, boom, it's there. It's like, genie in a bottle kind of thing. You are my, ask and you shall receive. So this time I'm swiping the card. I'm seeing the totals. So even though we have a budget, because I'm seeing it, it's a little frightening.
Yeah, and that's the same thing that's happening to me with the candle business. But for you, I'll say like historically, I have been not as worried about it to a degree as long as we have enough budget to carry you through, because you make it back. Like it's almost a guaranteed thing.
Yeah, I make it back.
The only thing I'm worried about for you is we've been doing some heavy advertising that I would typically do. And I know I have to remind myself the difference between when we were a brand new salon and when because you're in a brand new market now. But what gives me some concern is like in Severna Park, Maryland, when I would run certain ad campaigns, it would produce fairly immediate results. The phone would start ringing.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing that happen right now. And I'm like, is this market saturated? Is it, you just finally got to connect with some people? You're going to, like, somehow we got to prime that pump and get things going.
Yeah.
Get some reviews, get some photos of your actual space.
Once the space is like decorated and stuff, definitely
that helps, because people are going to, I'm glad we're doing the ads just for, like, if nothing else, brand awareness. People are going to start seeing your name out there. But like, if they click on your name and look at your salon photos, there's not a lot there right now.
Right.
With our other salon, we had a lot there, and you already had an easy time priming the pump because you had previous clients already in that market.
Yeah.
And then once you had a new place, they would just share it with their friends, and sooner or later things would grow.
Yeah.
This may actually be one of those times that it does take longer time to grow, like typically what was happening.
I'm going back to my very first time renting a chair and it taking a little bit. And we did Groupon because it was taking too long. So I
don't think we'll ever do Groupon again. It attracted the wrong client. The problem with Groupon,
a lot of my Groupons did stick with me because they went somewhere else and they were like, "Oh Jesus, I can't do this."
Yeah, but
and came back to me.
The fundamental problem I had with Groupon is, first of all, you get the people who are the unrealistic. You get more clients who are the unrealistic complainers.
Yeah,
meaning, like, they're only there for the discount. It's called, the phenomenon is called groupie.
Yeah,
like they're only going to come to you when they have a discount.
True. But if I get photos out of that.
Yeah, maybe.
It pays. It kind of
the
pays
other
off.
perspective. What Groupon will tell you is like, yeah, but it's a baked-in audience. You didn't have to pay for advertising,
right?
Like, how much would it cost you to get advertising? But my complaint to them always was that groupie effect. So you're attracting clients who will only come to you when you have a discount.
Yeah,
and you're also setting an expectation that you will run specials and discounts sometimes. And we broke all those habits after. Talking to some salon consultants and stuff like that. Like, you are a higher end stylist. There's no reason to be offering discounts.
Yeah.
Really, we just need to focus our energies on building that new audience for you.
Even our new distributor, my new distributor, she even said the same thing. She said, I'm up against some pretty stiff competition around us, but she said, don't lower your prices because
once people see the results of your work.
Yeah.
All it takes is for somebody to mess up somebody else's hair and then go looking for another stylist.
That's what
and
she
then
said,
they'll find you.
She did her homework on me and she looked at my pages and stuff and she's like, you're really good. Do not drop your prices just because you're desperate. It will come.
Right.
So that's.
I just want you to think about something more fundamentally too. Do you remember way back in the day when I was out of job, in between jobs, and I wouldn't take those standard little website management jobs or something? I knew I was better than that.
Yeah.
And I was willing to suffer instead of compromise my values.
Yeah.
And compromise myself and my worth.
Yeah.
And you need to remember that as well.
I do.
Don't compromise your worth.
I do.
You are really good at what you do.
I do.
And you deserve to be paid fair for it. Yeah, I don't think your prices are the highest in the area.
No.
And I don't think, and they definitely can't be the lowest, but they're competitive prices for somebody who's very skilled and can help in ways that other people can't.
We're doing the same thing like we did in Severna Park. The only difference is I don't have anybody here to start.
Right. So we got to prime that pump.
We have to prime the pump. I mean, surprisingly enough, I have at least 2 clients from Maryland flying out to see me because they can't find anyone. So that's exciting. So
that's respect right there.
That's respect right there. And I wonder how many more that's going to happen. So yeah, so it's nerve-wracking. Last podcast, I said the mistake of I'm not worried about money. And what I meant by that is usually I'm the one who is always like, that's too expensive. It's not this. It's not that. The money's not worth it. What I meant by that comment is this place that I'm renting out of is so comfortable and so inviting and so helpful that the rent wasn't the first thing that was scary to me.
Crossing your mind, yeah. Yeah. You just had such good vibes.
Yeah.
You knew that you're going to be able to be successful there.
Yeah. So that's what I meant by that comment. But if I don't have anyone in my chair and just paying out the rent fee.
Good vibes only go so far.
right. Yeah. That it's going to start catching up to me and I'm going to go into a little bit of a panic mode.
Yeah.
But I have little things here and there that I'm going to be doing. And the owner said that she's going to be helping as well. She has a lot of social gatherings and she's invited me to some already to hand out my business cards and stuff like that. So Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing I had to do. I had to design your business cards.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Design the website. Yeah.
Design the website. I woke up that morning and you showed me the image and I literally was like, what
I
are
thought
you
it was
thinking?
it's a line style woman, and it was just the way it was positioned, and you just didn't like anything about it.
I hated every single inch of that image. And I don't know why I'm going back to my very first business card. It's just something
I couldn't even
it's
find.
so weird.
I couldn't even find that image on. It was a stock Vistaprint image back in the day, and I think some webs, like if you search for that image, it was such a stock image back in the day. You'll find it all over Google as like salons adopted that as their image, which I would never do for our primary image, right? If we were running a salon, but for a business card and you're independent solo, it's fine. And so what I did is I just created a new version of it.
I thank
for
you for
myself
because I really wanted that because I was like, what am I gonna do? Like I had no idea because I really was stuck on that image.
It's just kind of for people who are listening to this on the podcast only, it's kind of a silhouette of a woman with her hair dangling down and
it's like
red lips.
Yeah, it's like the clean lines. It's like I don't know. It's
classy.
It's classy.
Yeah.
It's classy. There's so much in that one image, even though it's just one corner.
Right.
But there's so much in that image. There's sassiness. There's class. There's businesswoman. There's a lot in that image, and I really
packed in a little bit of black and red splashed in the corner of a business card, right?
Yeah, I really love it.
Well, it's important. That's why I run everything by you when it's stuff like that. It's your brand, your image. I want to make sure like I'm there to help.
Yeah,
I'm not there to dictate anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, so we went through our price list last week. We put prices together. A little scary for both of us, I think.
Let's talk that through just a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to bore people listening to this, but for any business, and I know there's different people's brain works different ways. When doing product pricing, or in your case, service pricing, I like to spend enough time to do a complete analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And that means analyzing your overhead, analyzing everything that goes into that item. And then from there, you can have a solid understanding of how much profit is to be made or not.
Right.
And in the service industry, especially for you, looking at your hourly wage, like how long that service takes to do, and the products. Like you'll have some items or some services where the products are expensive, but it doesn't take you a lot of time. So the service is expensive because the products are expensive.
Yep.
Then you'll have some services where the products aren't particularly expensive, but your time, there's a lot of time and it's custom specialty time. Like not everyone can do this type of thing. I'm thinking like a balayage or a corrective color or things like this.
Yeah.
So, but only by putting that to me, like in a spreadsheet, and I know it's a little nerdy and math, accountant like, and even though I don't like doing that stuff really, let me just be clear. There's nothing I like about this process. I hate it, but it's the only thing that makes me comfortable.
That we're doing the right pricing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And when I look at other people's pricing and I'm like, this doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
I don't think they really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I really,
Because if they value their time, you have to charge at least a certain amount of hourly wage, and the thing is when it comes to like a haircut, like at your level of a haircut, like you're going to demand at least a certain minimum, but the haircut is actually the cheapest service you offer.
Mm-hmm.
Really. You're hoping that people are coming to you for chemical services and things that require other specialty services.
Yeah.
Your haircuts aren't the cheapest either. They're actually a little, and I'm not going to say expensive. They're fair.
They're fair.
But you consider the amount of time and the expertise you bring to that. Like you don't get paid as much for a haircut as hourly as you do chemical services.
Right.
And it's really kind of like you're using that as a way to bring other clients in and things like that. But you have to, there's an element, I guess what I'm getting at is there's an element to this where market forces are going to, like if you tried to charge the same hourly rate for a highlight or balayage as you did for a haircut because you say, well, my time is worth this much per hour.
Right.
You wouldn't have anybody in your chair because there are people who are, they're not going to pay outside of New York City. They're not going to pay like $250 for a haircut.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to provide those services at a little bit of a discounted rate to your normal hourly wage.
Right.
But the only way to have visibility into that is to put all that into a spreadsheet and see where it lands.
Yeah. That part was a little nerve-wracking, but again, I'm not going to lower my standards or my artistic part of this whole not journey, my career.
Yeah.
I've worked way too hard to be where I am. I'm not going to go backwards.
Right. So this is that spreadsheet is what gives us that confidence that like, all right, so what our process generally is I'll update the spreadsheet to show like, here's the overhead. Like the overhead is things like you have to pay rent, you have to, pay for advertising and all this other stuff. So the things that don't involve services directly, and then you divide out by like how many days in a year there are. And so that averages out, and you have a certain like hourly price that costs you to be open, for the business to be open. That's your overhead. Then you have your products and stuff that go into that. Then you have your services, and plus the cost. Like if most people like to pay for things on credit card these days, that's not cheap for businesses. Most businesses have to pay 2 to 3% for those credit card transactions.
Right.
So you have to factor that in as well. So you factor every single cost that goes into it, and then you look at like how long it takes you to do that service, how much of it is profit for you, how much of it is your like stylist hourly wage.
Right.
And then this is the way we do it. Then we go and look at the market.
Right.
And now we adjust things about like, you know what? This price is actually a little too low. We should make this a little higher because this market is able to charge more for this.
Right.
This thing is a little too high. I don't know why this market is charging too low for this, but we're going to have to cheat the corners here, and like, we're going to have to drop this price just a little bit.
Right.
And so then we fine tune it from there. But when we do those fine tunings, we're looking at the end resultant service stylist wage, basically,
right.
and making sure it doesn't drop below your standards.
Right.
That's the way we make sure. And at the end of the day, you're just going to have to pull in the clients who appreciate. We said this with our previous salon. You're looking for clients who appreciate quality and are willing to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not looking for clients where price is their primary concern.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's a picture in a frame that I'm ordering, and it's perfect. You've customized something for me as well.
It's in the garage. I was going to bring it out. That steel sign.
Yeah. You customized something for me. And then I saw this sign on Amazon that's in my cart, and it says, "Never compromise on your hair, because that's the crown you'll never take off."
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I love that. And it's an image of a silhouette of a woman, and her hair is absolutely gorgeous. And it's very true. I mean, you never want to compromise on your hair. For women, makeup and hair is like their canvas. It's something that they should never.
Well, and let's be honest. So what you've had to tell some clients, like, as long as you don't have, as you get older, your hair does have trouble coming back.
Yeah.
But as long as you don't have some kind of medical condition, or you're to the point where your hair is compromised just because of age, your hair is going to grow back.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's an opportunity to reset itself, but how long does that take? And are you willing to take that time?
Yeah.
When somebody messes up your hair with a chemical service or even a bad cut, it doesn't come back immediately.
No.
So you have to live with that mistake for quite a while.
It's like 6 months to a year, depending on what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to live with that mistake. And if you're willing to do that, if your hair doesn't mean that much to you, you're just not the type of client that's going to gravitate towards somebody like you. Like, and you don't charge, like, I'm talking like, you don't charge crazy, but you do charge a fair price for the expert skills that you bring to the table. You're going to make sure that when you're done with a chemical service, their hair quality isn't compromised. It's not going to be falling out. It's going to be rich and vibrant and shiny and healthy.
Yeah.
You go to like some of these other places where they just want to care about like the Instagram look. They're going to take photos, and a week later your hair may be falling out, or
absolutely,
or because they basically compromised your hair integrity, and as you're starting to comb it and give it more mechanical damage, it's going to start fraying and split ends and all this type of stuff. So I think all this is to say that, like, I think your prices are justified.
Yeah.
In the process we went through, I think your fair prices in the market. It really is just a matter of priming that pump, getting people starting to talk about you. Once you get a couple people, and then they tell a couple people, and they tell a couple people, that'll start. But I do want you to focus on the marketing aspect. Like, there are things that, like, until we have better Google photos, better Instagram photos, better Facebook posts, and an audio ad where it all ties together, so that when somebody looks you up, they see all this other stuff coming together.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little bit of a difficult time, because Google Photos in particular, we need to have some photos of your new space and of clients having received service in your new space.
Yeah.
Until clients start seeing that, there's going to be a certain large percentage of people who go to do their homework on you, and it's just an incomplete solution. Like, they see the ad, they like the message, we got them to click, but then when they go and look at the details, you're going like, I don't know if she's established enough for me. She's like, talks a good game, but I need to see more.
Yeah.
Now, if they went on your Instagram, that'd be fine. But a lot of people, they're not into like doing full research on you. Some will, a small percentage will, but most of them are just, the first click has to land. And if it doesn't, you've lost them. Yeah. So we spent that money on marketing. they click, and then we lose them.
Yeah.
And so that's what we have to fix right now.
Yep. Yeah. So that's pretty much the update. Give it a week and should have everything decorated and up for photos, at least good enough for a couple of decent photos.
Yeah, and you're going to do some models that'll help you get some more hair photos. Generate some buzz, right?
Yeah, I have one model coming next Saturday. I am going to put a feeler out there. I would like a couple of blondes to highlight what I can do with blondes as well. So I'm going to be putting feelers out there, but I just have to reach out and pick the right models. The first one, she sent me photos. She seems really, really nice. She genuinely does not know what to do with her hair. So that's going to be next Saturday is going to be fun. Yeah. But I'm really excited, but also really nervous, but I'm more excited than nervous. Yesterday when I went there, one of the other stylists, she introduced ourselves again to each other and she talked to me and stuff like that. And she made me feel really, really comfortable.
Good.
I've really picked the right place. I just need people in my chair.
Right.
To get to the next step. And then after that, hopefully it's just, we're just up
I'm
and
sure
running.
that's always been the pattern for you. Otherwise, it's just priming the pump.
Yeah.
I had to remind myself of, we kind of joked in one of our previous episodes about like, let's see if we can get you fully booked within 2 months.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen.
Take 6 months.
Now you're not officially open yet. I'm not starting that timer until you're officially open.
Yeah.
But that timer is going to start first week
Saturday.
of May.
Yeah. Next Saturday.
And I'm still curious how well we can do. It's a matter of having access to the audience.
Yeah. But that's the update I have. I mean, it's a lot, but not too much. Not like you. My nerves are a little bit different than yours. Mine is you have ADD and I'm opposite. I hyper focus on one thing at a time. I can't do like 2, 3. I got to get one thing done.
That is actually a symptom of ADD as well.
Is it really?
Yeah, you hyper focus on one thing, ignoring all others. And then something gets your attention, and then you hyper focus on that thing and ignore all others.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I'm hyper focusing on today. You're going to go measure for shelving and organization. It's driving me insane that I'm not organized yet in there. And then after that, I guess my next focus would be decorations on the wall, but keeping it minimal, but bright.
I know you're in this phase of making sure you have a good space, which is important. But as far as a business plan is concerned, the number one thing you need to focus on is marketing, getting butts in chairs.
Yeah.
But you can't do that without what you're doing now.
My salon, the salon looking nice.
Yeah.
Alexa yesterday, she was like, Mom, I go, how do you like the space? She goes, it's nice. It's cozy. It's not tough love. And I was like, girl, tough love's not coming here. This is a whole new branding. This is a whole new, I'm renting out of a space. It's not our salon, even though it's a suite that I'm renting. So she giggled and she was like, I know, but she's like, it's really, really nice. I like the colors. I have a nice window, which brings lots of brightness in.
Yeah, it's going to be a good space.
Yeah.
I'm excited for where it's going.
So yeah, that's my update. Not too crazy. Hyper focusing on things that need to get done. And hopefully by next Saturday, I have to be ready by next Saturday. So.
Yeah, we're both in the grind, different types of grind right now, but we'll keep you guys updated as we continue to get through this grind. I mean, this is the messy part, for both of us.
Yeah, once we get this messiness under control, it'll be a little bit more of a rhythm back into recording. I mean, we'll be recording, but it'll be more of like
I feel like the next couple of recordings are just going to be kind of like
updates,
ad hoc updates.
Yeah. And excitement.
Then we'll get back on a plan where we're actually planning things out and trying to communicate some helpful tips and all that. I think there's still something
to be said
helpful about what we're doing here, but we like to try to pre-game it and figure out like what message can we really help people understand. And we'll get back to that in the next couple of weeks, but it's probably going to be a good month before we get back on that cadence. I think. Yeah.
But I think everyone will enjoy both of our journeys. The excitement, share the excitement with us,
or the mess,
the chaos, the chaos.
Something interesting
about that. Yeah. More your mess than me because I cannot afford messes.
I'll have plenty of chaotic mess to communicate over in the coming weeks. Right now the garage is upside down. Well, I'll share more on that next week.
I was gonna say we'll share more of the whole mess, and I'm scared that I won't be around to help.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, that's it for this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed this little chaotic mess of a journey we're on, at least sharing our part of it. If you enjoyed this episode, please
like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day, guys. Bye.